Good Friday afternoon, everybody. I'm Mark Dyer. Welcome once again to my studio. It's Friday live in the studio with the Crazy Artist. What the hell's he up to this week? Glad you all could make it this week. I'm enjoying doing these videos. Although I'm painfully shy, it gives me a chance to be able to verbalize all these things that run around in my head. I'm here to promote my studio and my work. That's my major objective in doing these videos. So if you have any questions, please head over to dyerfineart.com. You can find my work there. You can also email me from dyerfineart.com. Also, feel free to message me here at Facebook. But please, if you're messaging me here, make sure that it's art-related, work-related. How are you, JD? I greatly appreciate that. I keep my tablet on most of the day, and so any random video chat calls that come in kind of disturb what I'm doing. I don't mean to be rude about it, but this is the way that I make my living, and so I'd appreciate your cooperation in that matter. So with that being said, let's move on to kind of my topics for today. Had a number of questions, they all kind of related and dealing with my work and how I approach it and the things that I do. So first is I'm going to delve into my day. I kind of lay my day out. I have insomnia really bad, so I get up right around 3 o'clock-ish, somewhere in there, depending on if I'm sleeping or not. Usually I'm not. So I get up and come into my studio, and kind of like 3 to 5. It's kind of my golden time for me. It's a time where I really think about what I'm doing. It's more of that contemplating part of my day, and then also if I'm having any issues with a particular piece that I'm working on, it gives me a little quiet time to really focus on what it is that I'm not feeling or not seeing. Hey, good. Yeah. So that 3 to 5 is magical. So my day kind of lays out. I'm kind of an academic worker. When I was in college, I worked as a TA. I've said that a number of times, and so I took all of the classes that the school offered. And so that's kind of the way I lay out my morning, and my day is kind of segmented into I paint, I sculpt, I write, and although they kind of are interrelated, I kind of break it down, and so it doesn't get really mundane around in my studio. Hi, Chris. So that's kind of the way my day starts to lay out. The other question was my approach to my work. How do I approach my work? What gets me going on my work? So usually what happens is when I start a new piece, it's the culmination of several days, weeks, months, years of a familiar feeling that I get. Something will catch my eye. I'll overhear a conversation. I'll overhear a couple words being spoken to someone, or someone says a couple things in passing to me. So sometimes those things really trigger something in me that I then begin to think about. And if that kind of thought comes back to me a number of times, then at that golden hour of 3 to 5 a.m., I really start thinking about those things and contemplating why those have touched me in a certain way, and what I can do to then expound upon those things. So it all intertwines as I move through my day. Really, I get obsessed. Right now I've kind of evolved. Years ago I was real loose, real painterly. Now I've kind of become really obsessed and focused on my work. That's probably the biggest part of my day, is no matter what I'm doing, I'm always really focused. I have to be really focused, which is why I ask you not to video chat unless we're talking about art and business. Simply because I'm really a driven artist. I need that time to focus. I don't know that I can focus all that well, so I have to focus on focusing, if that makes sense. But not. I'm kind of making light of it. But I'm really a focused artist. While I'm standing at my canvas, I'm always contemplating my original intent as to why I'm painting, or why I'm sculpting or making a particular piece. that initial feeling I play over and over and over in my mind. Those few words that I've heard I play over and over in my mind. I'm constantly focused on that and continuing to expound and build on that as I work. So I'm really obsessed with these shapes. These shapes have evolved through the years into what I'm doing. I used to do, like I started to say, I used to do really painterly stuff, soft edges. I really am obsessed now with these really hard-edged shapes, primary, secondary, tertiary colors. For some reason, they've really taken hold of me, and again, it's an evolutionary process for me. I like the idea of the contrasting complementary colors and what they do. I try to use them as opposed to using a contour of any kind, brush stroke contour or line contour. I use those colors as defining shape and space in pushing things forward and back. The other thing that I'm really obsessed is this kind of automatism or subconscious idea of my work. So I have an initial idea, maybe like with these figurative abstracts, I have the figures there and I have kind of the theme going on of the sun and moon. But the shapes around those things are really those subconscious ideas of what's going on in my mind. And with my other abstract, total abstract work, it's the same thing. It's always the subconscious, the automatism of what I'm doing that I respond to. So one of my goals is, as I'm painting, is I'm really enveloped in this canvas, which is why I've evolved into this particular size. But I see things flashing around me as I'm going, and so I'm kind of paying attention and really focused not only on this brush stroke, but on these things that I feel outside of my vision, kind of in my peripheral vision as I'm working. And so I'm consciously thinking about those things. I also, because I write, I have a lot of times those things, those feelings come to me, and I'll stop for just a minute and I'll take some notes. And then at the end of the night is usually when I do my writing. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. So again, like I said, I'm really obsessed with these shapes and colors, and that's kind of, I think most artists get that kind of way. They kind of get into a period of what they go through. For a long time I did a number of simple abstracts kind of with this idea in mind, but they were all monochromatic, and I used Prussian blue was one of my favorite colors. I did a whole series of nothing but Prussian blue, and then I also did some sienna pieces too. So it all depends, and so I have to kind of follow my obsessions. There's a reason why I'm doing those. So the other part of that is then I come back into the idea of composition in the size of my canvas, and this is kind of a question that I've had, and I'm kind of blending the questions together simply because they are all interrelated. So the size of canvas that I use is meant to envelop the viewer. I have 3 or 4 different places that I think a viewer should be viewing my paintings from. If you have your nose up close into these paintings, I want you to be up close, and I want you to be taken in by those paintings. I never want my work to set on the canvas. I never want that canvas to be a vehicle to deliver my image to you. I want you to forget that you're looking at a canvas. I want you to forget that you're looking at something I've created, and what I want you to do is be enveloped in that feeling. And so that's why I've kind of chosen this size that I have. It's 48 by 60, 4 by 5 foot. About a year ago I did a piece called The Hyena and the Owl. That was 7 by 12. If I had my druthers, I'd work a 7 by 12 or larger any day of the week. The problem is then I have a storage problem in my gallery. One painting takes up a whole wall, and it kind of defeats the purpose of having the gallery. So, but I really, hi Patrick, so I really like the idea of these larger size canvases simply because I want the viewer to be taken in. I want you to feel those things as opposed to standing back and observing what I'm doing. So then the other part of that is then I have a 25-foot vantage point or viewing point, and then a 50 foot, and then about a 75 foot. So I like my paintings to work at all three of those, all four of those different vantage points for the viewer. I want you to be away from this painting, and I want you to be drawn to this painting, and as you draw closer to this painting, I want you to see different things, and then as you get up to the painting, what I want you to see is I want you to forget about these forms and about these figures, and I want you to be taken in by the shapes and the movement of what I'm doing. So that's really where I'm at with how I work, the intention of what I'm doing. The other part of that is somebody had asked me about the size of my paintings. Years ago I tried to paint for saleable work. I don't work well that way. I never have. When I create, I'm not creating with the intention or the idea of selling a piece. I have to create from my heart and my soul. That's where all this work comes from. So selling is secondary, maybe even further down the list than that. So the size of my paintings is not about the price or the cost of the paintings. It's about the feeling and about what I'm trying to convey. And so I'm always thinking about that while I'm working. Again, like I said, if I had my druthers, I'd work, the 7x12 was a wonderful size. I could go even larger than that if I had the studio space. But I want it to be an experience, and so I never ever, sales has never ever crossed my mind. I only on advice from someone who I had admired that they said that I should consider that. I considered it for a couple of weeks and then I moved on. That's just me. It's nothing against anybody else. It's just my own personal preference. Everything I say is my own personal preference. It's not the law, it's not the rules, it's not the way it is for everybody. It's just my own personal preferences. So I want to make sure that that's clear, because I kind of got a little feedback. Somebody thought I was directing a comment at them, and that's just not the case. I speak solely for myself and my own experiences, and so that's kind of where I'm at. So I'm kind of rambling on here, trying to look at my notes and remember what else. So the idea of what I'm doing, and this is really, I think, important, is I want you to feel attention when you look at my work. I want you to feel that kind of what is going on. It's like looking at a drop of water. What makes that drop of water keep its shape? That's what I always want people to think about is what's really keeping this painting together? What's keeping this sculpture together? So I like that kind of tension of things as people view my work. It's exciting to me to do that and to be able to convey that. I hope that comes across. So I think that's about it for today. I really appreciate your patronage. I appreciate your support. I appreciate your friendships. Hi Dwayne, how are you? So it's really, all of this is important to me. So I'm looking at doing a number of things this upcoming year. I know I've tortured you people with some of my recordings, but I really want to do kind of a collaborative culmination show where I have some vocals that I've recorded, no lyrics, but it's just and it's more kind of engineered stuff that I've done in the past that I have recordings of. So I want to do that, pull together with people wandering the show, reciting some of my writings, and then these paintings, not only the figurative, but also the complete abstract. So that's my goal for the upcoming year. Happy holidays, everybody. I hope everybody has a safe holiday. Enjoy. Be safe. Buy from your local artists. We still got a few days left. Buy art, buy art, buy art. Head over to dyerfineart.com. Enjoy. Je t'aime. And we will see you all next Friday. Thank you, folks.